All right, everybody. Welcome in part 12 as we finally get to November and weirdly the kind of most topical, considering how one of the things that stood out from Comic-Con this past week was Johnny Depp just traipsing around somewhere in San Diego as if he was Ebenezer Scrooge. And then apparently seemingly catching the directors panel or whatever that they were doing at the event off guard just so he could reveal his trailer. And like at least a couple of the directors are like, why the shit is he here? They didn't say it directly, but you could tell from their expressions it was like, oh, so apparently we have to curtail, the last few minutes of our talk just so we can have Johnny Depp be Johnny Depp. Because we'll be discussing Zemeckis' one pretty soon, but if we're going by the list as I see it, AJ, another interesting one to cover first on the alphabetical order front for the 6th of November, 2009.
I mean, we could do a whole video on fucking Richard Kelly and and what happened to him. Um, but if you're unaware, obviously Richard Kelly exploded onto the map with Donnie Darko, and then he followed that up with Southland Tales, which is a totally different movie depending on who you're talking to or who you're asking about it. And then he comes out with The Box, which is an adaptation of a Twilight Zone episode. I'm thinking it was also like not like the good Twilight Zones, but like that 80s period, I think is where it came from.
It's also it's a Richard Matheson short story that got
Oh.
adapted into it, but obviously when you look at his work, you've got what I Am Legend, Shrinking Man, uh, okay, What Dreams May Come, which is not the same style and whatever. But
No, I just want to point out right away where an immediate obvious problem is. Based on a short story that was adapted into a Twilight Zone episode is an hour and 55 minutes. That's immediately a problem already. Because the main thing I remember about this movie, and I think I have a Blu-ray of it, so I've tried rewatching it. I remember it being very disappointing when it came out, and it continued to be when I tried again. But it's one of those movies where it has a very, obviously, given how many versions of we already have, it's a great concept, and it's a great concept for a short story or for one episode of TV. But once you get to the point, spoiler alert, the button is pressed pretty early. and then it's basically just the movie gets weird. And you would think I would say this could work with a more capable writer and director, but under Kelly in this particular circumstance, the weirder it gets, the less interesting it gets. Like I just remember checking out of this movie so early once it got past the initial concept. And I still, having seen it more than once, I could not tell you much of what happens in it once the button is pressed, honestly. Um, I think it's revealed that Frank Langella has a fucked up face. I think somebody's nose bleeds. That's all I got. It's just underwhelming all over. But it's one of the quintessential examples. A question always comes up: what are those movies that had really great concepts that ultimately didn't pay off well? I feel like this is one of the quintessential examples of that, and there's a ton of those, and usually in sci-fi. But this is just a glaring example of no. There's a reason this story had only been told in the short form prior to this.
I
I don't
find
know
it
why they
interesting
brought.
that at least looking through the list of Matheson's shorts that have been adapted, the only one that I think was successful in being adapted to from short to long form, possibly because Matheson did it himself, was Jewel.
Hmm.
Um, the the fact that the rest of them, it's pretty much held off to being adapted into an episode, or of, be it Trilogy of Terror or Journey to the Unknown, basically your anthology sort of TV episode esque things. Although I weirdly find out that apparently one of them, which was adapted into a Twilight Zone episode, loosely made into Real Steel. That's a Richard Matheson's direction I didn't think it was going to take. But yeah, you sort of feel that, at least in terms of the short stuff he did, that's where it sort of would fit better. And if you can't really flesh it out strong enough to take something that could be at its most an hour, if you really sort of were careful in how you adapt it or flesh it out, but somehow, as you say, drag it out to what, nigh on, let's say 110 minutes, because 5 minutes will be credits. That's a lot of sort of stuff you've got to sort of go in. And at least the semi-surprising thing is they didn't Warner Brothers didn't try and tack on a happy ending. They did sort of leave it the Twilight Zone-esque, ah, you thought it was all good, but no, you're screwed. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I guess it's a shame because of what what he did with Darko put so much bloody attention on him. I mean, to be fair, he did write Domino as well, which I enjoyed. But yeah, the fact that the only other stuff we got for him was Southland Tales, which was, the mixed bag that it was, and then really the same with this, and he's done nothing since. It's
I
kind of, it's kind of, in that respect, crazy that we didn't get more for him, but to some extent as well, I'm kind of pleased, because if he kept trying to go for that, maybe there is that second thing in him, it's just we'll never get it from him. But yeah, it's an eclectic tale of how he went from well, I guess from one form of notoriety to another, arguably. Any thoughts, Owen?
um
No, not
I was gonna
actually. I don't remember this movie at all.
wow. My lead-in was about to be I remember you having quite a bit of hype for this one, but I couldn't remember if you were as disappointed as I was.
Concept. Okay, just I'm reading the wiki page and everything, and the concept sounds like something that would be very intriguing, but I don't feel like the execution was there.
Yeah.
I think the trailer actually got me hooked, but again, like remembering back then, it obviously didn't resonate. And a movie like that should.
Yeah, because I feel like I remember when the trailer was out, you were all over this one, and then we saw it.
And then the bell rang.
So does that bring us to Zemeckis? Yes.
I think so, yeah.
I don't have the list, so I don't know.
So this is Zemeckis's Christmas Carol. This is him doing what he started with the Polar Express, doing the motion capture and all that. with Carrie doing Scrooge and Oldman's there playing a few parts. Colin Firth there. Colin Firth might be doing a couple of parts also, and Carrie Elwes. And honestly, I've watched this a few times now. It comes up more on my radar now when Christmas comes around. But when we saw it in the theater, I did not vibe with it.
No.
Like, it was very... I think I was bored with it in the theater, honestly.
That sounds about right.
Which is interesting because Zemeckis using that style for this movie and the way he utilizes it does end up making a lot of sense. And he's able to do a lot of things that you wouldn't... that would almost seem kind of unadaptable in a way, at least as vividly as he does it here. So I've come to appreciate it over time. It's still not something I consider like a go-to or anything. But as far as like being direct adaptations of this story and having like a lot of the darker elements in it that are typically omitted, yeah, there's something to this one that's grown on me, but I just remember just really not being into it at all when we saw it the first time, which I found interesting. But I don't remember if I don't even remember if I was looking forward to it or not. Maybe not. But I'm one of those people that'll die on the hill of the Polar Express, though. So you would think I would have been all over this, but yeah, it took growing on me.
The
With
key
this
thing,
one.
at least, again, when we've dabbled into the 3D part of the things, I did appreciate the fact that this was trying to do the subtle 3D more than sort of the whole stick the hand out the screen aspect. But you saw from a lot of things, because they just saw that as the easy way to catch people, whereas Zemeckis, I think, sort of realized that using the 3D you could to create a greater depth of field that you could just generally, depending how you sort of animated it, and certainly with the sort of mocap stuff, that sort of felt like something that, I mean, it's the closest thing. It was the closest example I think we got of it until obviously Avatar did come round. So in that aspect, it was like, oh, that actually might be a sort of, this might be the sort of way that I don't mind seeing the sort of 3D films. Which I guess is also somewhat relevant, because even I still find it amazing that the new Spider-Man film is coming out, and they're sort of semi-promoting it, I guess. There's 3D showings. I think, admittedly, they're probably going more the sort of IMAX, whatever they're calling it for Doomsday, Infinity Vision or whatever, in that aspect. But I still find it surprising that it sort of held on, because it sort of like, it feels like they sort of fell off with it. But I want to say this was Disney's first proper dabble into this. I guess bar the 3DFI Toy Stories that we'd obviously talked about for October, but at least in terms of new stuff,
This was still vague to us, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Owen. We had this debate at the start of the 2009 thing, and we didn't quite figure it out. I think we didn't get 3D stuff until Avatar.
It's either at Avatar, it was like right before Avatar, preparing for Avatar.
Because I feel like maybe we had this in 3D, but I don't think so.
It feels like...
I'm pretty positive we didn't see it in 3D, so that says that too.
And we weren't burnt out on 3D at that point because obviously it was fresh and new. So I would think, unless times never lined up, we would have watched it in 3D.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's we didn't have 3D. We had 3D for Avatar, and then we didn't until Shrek 4, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah. So maybe this would have been a different experience entirely with 3D when it wasn't something that was constant like it became.
Sure.
But yeah. So that takes us to oh, and I remember how much you love this one.
Oh,
Oh,
Close
God.
Encounters.
Oh, and do you remember The Fourth Kind?
Oh, God. I remember hating it very much.
Yeah, this is the one where they tried to do the Mila Jovovich plays herself talking to us, telling us this is a documentary that she and Elias Koteas are reenacting.
Yeah, it was crap.
I think there is a universe where this concept really works for this type of movie. I don't think this is that movie, but
No, definitely not.
this is also the mockumentary movie. This is also the Scary Owl movie, depending on how you remember it.
Ah,
Wait, it's Legends of the Guardian?
That'd be a couple of years out, but we'd get there. Zack Snyder saw this and was like, "Holy shit, I know what to do."
and then someone said, "Oh,
I think this is another. There was a while where they like to drag Will Patton into movies like this.
yes,
I'm pretty sure he's in there.
he is in there."
Of course. I was like, am I thinking of Mothman? But no, Mothman's like the good one, and I'm not just biased.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember this one being one that also, this is kind of a theme so far, was just really banking on its concept, and then didn't have a lot to go into it once they established that. I do remember it being like, I think it's like really, my memory's really vague of it, so stay with me. But I remember it being like it's trying to be pretty ambiguous. And in a way, I feel like there's a way to do that also that really, really works for this. But I also remember it being like ambiguous to a fault, to the point that it kind of felt like nothing really added up to anything. And it just kind of felt like the movie existed, and we immediately forgot it as soon as it was done. Does that sound right?
Oh, most definitely. See, I didn't get the itch for horror back then. So it's like now it's like, okay, it's just another crappy, should have been in January horror movie. Just somehow happened to come out at the end of the year.
I think I remember her at the beginning saying something like, "Be warned, what you are about to see is disturbing."
She literally said, "This is based on real events. This is really happening. I'm playing character." Basically, shattering the fourth wall before the movie even started.
I know it's been 17 years and my memory's vague. I don't remember anything that warranted such a warning.
I mean, I'm looking at the wiki and I'm like, well, I'm just bored by looking at it.
There might have been, were there like murders maybe? I'm really digging far into my brain on this.
An abduction.
You know what's funny too is it feels like my memory is literally blurry, but if I remember correctly, I feel like the movie itself is like literally blurry.
It
A lot
was.
of the time.
Yeah. Didn't a lot of it like take place because it's in Alaska? Didn't a lot of it take place like during like nighttime when like snow was everywhere, you barely could see the screen?
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, not like Alien versus Predator or Requiem dark, but still
And
squinting.
not Collector Dark either, but somewhere in the
Yeah.
middle.
I
I
feel
love that.
I feel like as well it was trying to be. I will always say Doomwatch because that's what British people were traumatized by in the 1990. I guess the
Yeah.
closest thing that you guys would have seen at least got popular review is what was it, Late Night with the Devil a few years back? The sort of like how it was presented as if it was like um what I think would have helped. One is it if Mila wasn't trying to break the fourth wall. You see what they did there? That's the fourth kind of wall.
Shat
Um
fourth wall. Not brick.
and not have that at the start and sort of have, just a relative unknown sort of play it sort of in character. Still say, this is, if it wasn't Mila doing it and like have somebody else sort of, maybe Mila still doing the narration, but have a different actress playing the doctor. But then maybe because there is the bit sort of like at the end where it's like the reenactment ends and it sort of fails off for the sort of 10-15 minutes. If it went sort of Doomwatch Late Night with the Devil-esque after that, I think it probably would have had more reason to exist rather than it feels like, oh, I'm trying to, who was it that fucking distributed it? At least it was Universal in America and then various other places international. So it feels like they were trying to do a found footage esque thing, but they didn't want to fully commit to it because, I mean, to be fair, this is a rarity in the sense that this is a Mila Jovovich film that I don't has anything to do with her husband. Because practically everything else she's done in the past, since Resident Evil, has been with her husband. Maybe Bar Zoolander 2. But of course, you had the sort of connection from beforehand with that. And then the only other thing, which I vaguely recognize her now from like some of the trailer bits where she showed up, are really, I guess, really young Mia McKenna Bruce before How to Have Sex and everything as the doctor's daughter. That's the only good thing to come out of this film. Mia McKenna Bruce. Yes. I think it says a lot as well that the director pretty much just went into TV work, be it directing and or writing, and is now stuck somewhere in CBS doing, I don't want to say for hire, but like he's done a lot of Star Trek Discovery stuff, Star Trek short treks, directed 6th episode of Falling Skies, and I think directed that, what was it, the Star Trek movie from last year? I think it was the one that went straight to streaming.
The one with
The one
Michelle
that,
Yeoh.
yes, was it Section 31? Yeah,
I
that
never
one.
saw it. I don't know.
Yeah, it does feel like, ironically, sort of Richard Kelly-esque. It's like, yeah, he probably is a good sort of director you can bring in to do short form. But yeah, the fact that Section 31 didn't get very well received as a feature film, and I don't even remember evidence. Although apparently he's writing and directing something going under the working title of Dark Moon, but who knows what the hell that is.
I just love that we've determined that the movie was actually blurry, so I literally can't tell if I have a blurry memory of it or a vivid memory of it. So
Yeah.
I'll have to work that out. So we briefly brought up the next one in the last video. It's The Men Who Stare at Goats. This is another one that's like, I remember it being like funny enough, but when the poster was Clooney, Bridges, Ewan McGregor, and Spacey.
Don't forget the goat.
Yeah. And remember, this is 2009 Spacey. We didn't, like, he was still Spacey, to us anyway. That was such a promising group of people. This is one of those movies that kind of puts you in that space of the disappointment that can come from a stacked cast. There was another movie that just had me thinking about this, and I have to remember what it was.
I can tell you the movie for me what it was. It was The Monuments Men.
Yeah, that's definitely Clooney. Something about Clooney doing this.
I had so much hope for both of those movies, and both of them were extreme letdowns, and they shouldn't have been.
And then look, you got Robert Patrick, Stephen Lang, Stephen Root. I think Stephen Lang is the one that gets the big moment in the trailer where he runs into the wall, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I think what ended up happening is this movie just got forgettable because we saw it in 2009. I didn't see it again until a few years ago. I was at my brother's for a week, and he was at work one day, so I watched this on Netflix. And I remember that being like a chill time. Like just hanging out in my brother's empty apartment, watching The Men Who Stare at Goats on Netflix. And I was like, this is chill.
Mm-hmm.
This was only a few years ago. I've already forgotten the movie again.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the last scene where everybody's on LSD. I think is the only thing I remember. and Stephen Lang running into the wall. But I really couldn't tell you much of anything else. I remember vague Bridges scenes. I remember Ewan McGregor, I feel like, is kind of the main character, despite being third in the credits.
That's the other thing that I remember, because it's him in the end that apparently runs through the wall, going, where Stephen Lang couldn't.
Yeah. I say that about McGregor and Bridges. I remember the LSD scene where Spacey almost shoots himself and then changes his mind. Clooney's like the front and center thing here. I don't remember Clooney in this movie. I know he's like a major character too. It's not like he's barely in it even though he's the star. No, he's like the star of the movie. But I don't remember anything stand out about him in it, which is really weirding me out. It says Nick Offerman's here too. I don't know if I could have identified him by name in 2009. I had seen him in things, obviously, but I wouldn't have been able to. Steve Whitting's here too. I love him. I don't. Also, they put Bush and Saddam Hussein in the credits list for some reason. But yeah, the movie itself is a vague memory. My most vivid memory of this movie is the fact that I have that giant wall poster we talked about in the last video. So that's all I got. I think another thing was that people didn't realize Grant Heslov directed this movie. Everybody and their fucking mother thought this was a Coen Brothers movie.
Yep, I remember that.
Which, by the way, no hate towards anybody that thought that. It makes perfect sense. And honestly, it's probably a Coen Brothers movie waiting to happen. Was a Coen Brothers movie waiting to happen, but that's unfortunately not the universe we live in. But we did get a Serious Man from them this year, so it's fine.
That's fair.
Is that the extent of it?
Yes.
Although I do appreciate the fact that in the, I guess because of the poster, Goat does feature after the main four on the direct credits. I don't think it does on the. Yeah, sadly it doesn't in the semi long list as it appears within the list of 2009 film section. But on the actual main page, Goat is a cast member. Certainly, I'm surprised that BBC Films back this. I'm guessing possibly just because of it being an adaptation of the John Ronson thing. And weirdly, I think enough, this would have been my introduction, at least that I vaguely remember, to Peter Strawn as scriptwriter. Because I don't think I caught either 66 or Mrs. Ratcliffe's Revolution or How to Lose Friends and Alien People. But pretty much everything afterwards, yeah, The Debt, Tinker, Frank, Our Brand is Crisis, the Snowman, because I can see what they're trying to do with the Snowman. It's just, the production company did absolutely terrible there, and the Goldfinch, and then of course, actually finally getting recognition for Conclave, and then he gets to write not one but 4 Beatles films next year.
Yeah, with how in the forefront he's come, I honestly forgot to even link him back to this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also says a lot as well that this is bar maybe a short film. What was it? Yeah. Oh, okay. He directed a featurette as part of the Waiting for Woody or whatever. It's the only one that he's directed. He obviously wrote Good Night and Good Luck and Ides of March and Monuments Men and Suburbicon, and obviously most of it has been him producing with George Clooney. This is the only one that he dabbled, at least in terms of feature directing, which seems about right.
I have to be honest, and I know for a fact that Owen is going to agree with me because we talked about this already. Even though the next movie is a very, very substantial movie, I don't really want to spend a lot of time on it. because of controversial opinions, I guess. Owen, we have made it to Precious.
Oh.
No, I
Damn.
got it right. What is it? Precious,
Okay.
based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
Yeah, let's start on I guess you could say a positive. I was out of town a couple of years ago, and I found a bookstore, and I found Push. And despite my feelings about this movie, I got it, and I was very, very psyched about owning the novel Push by Sapphire. So, like, having an actual possession of that, it's like, you're a movie title, you're famous, book. That was that's fun. The story's not, and the movie's not, but that's a fun fact. Like I said, there's 2 words in my head right now. They're a phrase. And I'm afraid to put them on this movie because people will make it'll feel like, it'll seem dismissive or insensitive or whatever. And just generally controversial because people think this movie's amazing. Do you know what 2-word phrase I use for this. It's a phrase that people use, but when I hear this phrase, this is like the first movie that comes to mind. Do you know what that phrase might be?
There's only two words that come to mind to me too, but I'm pretty sure we're on the same page.
I'm guessing Oscar bait?
Yes.
That's a very good guess, but that's not what I was going for, actually.
Oh.
That is correct, though.
I was hoping one of you would say it so I wouldn't have to. I guess I have to now.
Hold on. Doesn't involve torture, does it?
No, but I think you're there. I think you've got the phrase, just change a word.
The other word that comes with torture obviously is more suited to horror movies, but I'm sure that's not the word I'm looking for, is it?
I guess I should just say it, right?
Mental torture?
It's my own fault for I think this movie is the poster child for misery porn.
I didn't know that terminology.
Oh, yeah.
And I just don't, like, even as the story is told, because it's not like you're supposed to enjoy this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say, like, I don't, like, I was about to say, like, I just don't dig this movie. But it's like, is anybody supposed to? And what, at the end of the day, I mean, you can't say, like, what purpose is it, because, you know, it's, as outlandish as some of it might seem, it's actually not. There's lives out there that are in this fucked up of an environment. But I just, while you can admire certain movies like that, I've never even admired this movie. This movie's just really not, it's obviously supposed to be off-putting. So I can't even say off-putting. It's like, any way I would criticize this movie, you could easily say that's how you're supposed to feel. But there's no, I've never cared for Lee Daniels as a director. I should probably say that up front. His style just does not, like, his use of slow-mo and stuff like that, never, we talked about that when Ava DuVernay was basically doing him with Selma. Which is another reason I couldn't really take to Selma either, because it felt like a Lee Daniels movie. I like him as an artist. Like, Lee Daniels is the reason we have Michael Shannon. Because Lee Daniels was his agent before he was a director. Did you know that?
Oh.
And he was like he was like the big producer on Monsters Ball. Which Monsters Ball is a movie I love and admire, despite it being extremely fucking unpleasant.
Yeah, because he also, I'm just looking here, he produced Woodsman as well. And then his first dabbling into actually directing was Shadowboxer.
Mm-hmm. We remember Shadowboxer.
You remember Shadowboxer?
I can tell you 2 scenes from Shadowboxer right now. There's the scene where Cuba Gooding Jr. shoots Helen Mirren in the head while he's fucking her.
Yep.
And there's the scene where Steven Dorff gets interrupted while fucking and says, he like threatens the guy and says, "What have I told you about interrupting me while I'm fucking?" or something like that. We remember Shadowboxer. I think Helen Mirren was terminally ill, and that's why Cuba Gooding Jr. killed her while he fucked her.
Oh, okay. I thought this was sort of a Phil Spector-esque situation. Where he was basically out off his tits and whatever, rather than, you know, sort of, you know, being the equivalent of Dignitas in Switzerland.
What's it say? I'd rather talk about Shadowboxer than Precious.
It says a lot that I'm getting Shadowboxer confused with something that's got. I think it's Shadow Dancer, the one with Andrea Riseborough and Clive Owen.
Yeah.
That I think was 07,
Completely-
so it's like in between the two.
completely-
Like
Yeah, completely different movie.
no, but like when I first saw Shadowbox as a name, I was like, oh wait, is it that film? And then I clicked through, and it's like, oh no, it's the one that I just I didn't see, but I were. What a great poster! Helen Mirren smoking a cigarette and Cuba standing behind her with a gun. Considering the scene you just described, that's a great fucking poster.
Yeah. So I just never. I just don't like Precious. That's all I can say. Owen, do you want to try, or
Nope.
do you want to forfeit?
Multiply AJ's thoughts by 1,000,000. I don't really need to elaborate, especially in 20.
Okay.
I feel the only thing, and
No more. Over. Conversation done, Ashley.
no, it was the one thing I want to say, which might be, me trying to do undirected hate. The hero of the Oscars, at least in terms of me pulling out 4 signs every year. This feels like the film that a Diane Warren song would be stuck on the end credits for and try and get in. Considering like how a lot of stuff seems like now in terms of like misery stuff, but then try and get an upbeat Diane Warren song at the end to show no, you can power through it. It seems like that's what this film was missing.
Are you trying to tell me there's not a Diane Warren song in this movie?
I don't think so.
I don't think there is.
I mean,
either.
it didn't get. If it did, the Academy didn't nominate it, so it's not part of the streak. So.
Oh my god. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together, and I came up with an idea in my head, and I was like, yeah. No, the music I think of when I think of this movie is either Queen Latifah or Mary J. Blige, just based on concept alone. They're both on
Blige
the
wrote the
soundtrack.
song.
They're both on the soundtrack.
Blige wrote the song that I think was trying to be your Diane Warren-esque. Yeah, this will get a chance to get nominated, but it didn't make it in. Oh no, yeah. So it was nominated at the Satellite Awards. They're the only ones that dared to.
Based on the concept. Moving on. Let's go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think we can talk about the next one. That Evening Sun, the one with Hal Holbrook and Ray McKinnon. I want to say both of them were Spirit Award nominated, maybe. The reason we can't talk about this one is because it was there at the Spirit Awards, so we were very aware of it, but we never saw it.
Nope.
It never like. Well, I don't think we ever had access to it.
No.
I think it was one of those. I'm sure. I mean, given the cast list, I'm sure it's great, but we never saw it. So
I would say it was probably, again, it's every year we have the Spirit Awards has this random movie that no one has any access to. The only people that can watch it are the people that are getting it nominated for things.
let's go the complete opposite direction of the Spirit Awards. Let's go to Roland Emmerich.
Yeah.
Oh dear God.
Okay, so this is 2012. You know, I go 2 ways with Roland Emmerich. I'm obviously a huge Independence Day person.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, just this month, I got my annual rewatch that I look forward to every year. It's still just as great as it's always been. I fucking love that movie. But and like I'm not even like a Stargate person, but his Stargate movie is really good.
I didn't realize he did the original Universal Soldier either.
Yeah. I mean, he's also got, the 98 Godzilla under his belt and stuff like that, and
It's got one of the best soundtracks in the movie.
Honestly, if it didn't have the whole Godzilla thing to it, and was basically just, if it was presented as if it was like a Jurassic Park thing, but obviously a Godzilla-esque Jurassic Park monster that wasn't... If it didn't use the name, I think people would have been way more okay with that film. Because it actually... If you present it as, let's say, Cloverfield-esque, I think it would have been much better received had it not been for a lot of the changes that were made, because it's still a credible, enjoyable action film. It just isn't a Zilla. Well, no, it is Zilla, because that's what Toho established. It's like, no, that's Zilla, not Godzilla. Fucking hilarious.
I mean, his Godzilla, it's been a while, but I don't remember ever really caring for it, but the point I guess I'm making is we'll ignore the fact that he did the Independence Day sequel also. We'll just ignore that exists. But more often than not, I really trust Emmerich with gigantic spectacle and destruction. Because
one of the first memories of him, at least at the cinema, was Day After Tomorrow. That really actually hooked me, and I feel like there's a lot of things that have always been trying to be Day After Tomorrow that have failed. Like
it's very funny because pretty much over time, like for a while now, the Day After Tomorrow has had a really good reputation. However, it has always been stuck in my head. Owen's opinion on the Day After Tomorrow. Would you say that's also how you felt about 2012, or not as extreme?
Not as extreme.
Because when I saw it in the theater, I was into 2012. I did a versus video with it and the Day After Tomorrow, I think. I'm pretty sure. I've definitely talked about 2012 on this channel before. I think when I did that video is the only other time I've rewatched it all the way through.
Yeah.
But in the theater, it works really well as a mass destruction movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like a classic disaster movie vibe to it that I actually really appreciated at the time. Were you about to say something, Owen?
Dude, I just don't think I like this concept. I don't think I like disaster movies. Because most of the times, especially in like the late 2000s and the early 2010s, I just didn't vibe with any of them.
I think I like this one better than The Day After Tomorrow, but The Day After Tomorrow is also a movie I haven't really I've probably seen it twice, and again, to do that video would have been the second time.
Sure.
So, these aren't movies I watch often, but I think Emmerich has always had a vibe of capturing the vibe of the classic disaster movie in a way that's very appealing. I do know, everybody's fucking talking point. Because, again, we're in movie discourse now where you bring up a movie that's almost 3 hours long. If it's got, one internet talking point that took off, that's all anybody's gonna bring up for some reason. They have to be in the conversation somehow. Oh, people talk about this a lot. Maybe this will get people to talk to me or whatever. The fact that Tom McCarthy gets ground up for no reason. For some reason, people are obsessed with what happens to Tom McCarthy in this movie. And it's like, have you seen a disaster movie? The Towering Inferno is a slasher movie, and the slasher is a burning building. That's what disaster movies are. But yeah, Woody Harrelson's got a fun part in this where he's basically, what Woody Harrelson would be doing if he wasn't an actor. Probably. Chiwetel's in this. Danny Glover, I think, is the president. It's got a really good cast, as disaster movies tend to do. But yeah, I was kind of into this at the time, surprisingly so. And I wasn't at all surprised when Owen felt the way that he felt. I almost forgot that The Day After Tomorrow was Emmerich, despite the fact that it's like pure 100% Emmerich.
The crazy thing is, though, when you think about it, him getting eaten in this film kind of pretty much retired him. I mean, he's done bits here and there. He did a few films in 2010, but other than that, he's really just been behind the camera ever since pretty much this.
Yeah, because he's
I mean, okay, he did, The Visitor and Station Agent before, but obviously, given that 5 or 6 years after this, we get to Spotlight and everything, and sort of how he's sort of been more of a director role rather than anything else. So
he would have just done Win-Win. No, he wouldn't have done Win-Win right before this, because Win-Win is 2011, and I'm thinking of the year 2012, but we're actually in the year 2009.
Yeah,
that's what's fucking.
Thanks, Roland.
Okay, so yeah, it's more relevant. He had just done The Visitor and gotten Richard Jenkins an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
And then this, and then 6 years later, he made a movie that won Best Picture. and won his own Oscar for screenplay. Did he win for producing also? He might have. I don't know. But yeah, that's how I feel about 2012.
I don't know whether he was a producer on that.
It doesn't
one.
matter.
No, he wasn't.
Is that it for 2012?
Yep.
We need to get away from it before I keep getting confused on what year we're in. Okay, this next movie is a movie called Dare with Emmy Rossum.
Shit. Based on the song by Gorillaz.
We watched this. Like, we did watch this. I know you don't remember.
Nope.
I don't remember either, but we did watch this. So, I guess that's pretty much it for that, right?
I feel it says a lot that somebody is clearly trying to champion this film on Wikipedia, because the paragraph before you get to the cast labels it at the end. The film has been described as a cross between Pretty in Pink and Cruel Intentions.
No,
which I find it interesting, because those are two good films. From what I can tell from this, probably as the short film that it got basically greenlit for in terms of making it a feature film, it probably works, but I'm guessing from the way you've been describing it as trying to get over it, it's basically the box. It's like, probably good as a short film. Feature length, not so much.
My memory is blank.
Nope.
Let's get to something good then. Come on.
Maybe.
Yeah, here we go. Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Hell fucking yes.
I don't know why I remember this so vividly, but it's listed for the 13th of November. Was it released and then expanded? Because I'm pretty sure we got it like on Thanksgiving.
Possibly.
I don't think we got it on time.
Yeah, because I remember when we watched it, we had to shape when we watched it around you having a double shift, because my weird takeaway memory from this is you were always really psyched about Thanksgiving because you always got the double shifts on Thanksgiving.
Jesus, how things have changed.
And that determined when we saw Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yep, that sounds about right.
And obviously, I hate to say this. I loved this movie when we saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was just like really unexpected because we hadn't. This was our first run in with animated Wes Anderson.
Yes.
So there was like a big novelty factor to it. And then it was like, oh my God. This is when we were like, it's literally just Wes Anderson. It's just animated. He doesn't change between mediums. This is incredible. and we like fell in love with it.
Oh yeah.
I've seen it a few times since the theater, and I don't know if I've loved it as much as I did the first time. Because I remember really, really loving it the first time, and now it's definitely still a movie I like a lot. But I don't think I've felt the same way about it since that first time, and that upsets me. But I do love it. I judge it based on that first time. So I still consider it a movie that I love. But
It probably
yeah.
connected more with me, obviously having read the book young and sort of growing up with it. To me, it still resonates. To be honest, it's probably this and Isle of Dogs, and along with your Aardmans and your Leicas, as like, this is the animation that I think I appreciate the most. To some extent as well, though, I feel that like this is Wes Anderson going back to basics, because when you look at the amount of miniature work that is used on practically everything since, at least I vaguely think he did some of it for Royal Tenenbaums with some of the miniature stuff. Certainly Life Aquatic, because I remember sort of seeing the stuff, where they sort of did the big pan sort of as if you're trying to see what's happening in each part of the submarine sort of thing. And I feel like that sort of come through since. So basically just having, rather than sort of juxtaposing humans into miniatures, he just was like, no, let's just do miniatures in miniatures and do it that way. I partly also think it also works because of Baumbach co-writing, which of course again connects with Life Aquatic in that sense. It's just very well done. I still think this is the best use of Jarvis Cocker in film media. Sorry to you, Harry Potter and was it Order of the Phoenix that he just like randomly did the song in? It was actually also a banger. Yeah, I mean, I feel it says a lot that a Wes Anderson film opened the London Film Festival that year. Possibly just because it was Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's a shame it basically had to go up against up, pun I guess intended. But yeah, it's like, yeah, in terms of stop motion stuff, I feel like, then again, of course, oh yeah, that would have gone the same year as Coraline, so one of the very rare occasions where multiple stop motion films actually made it into the Oscar noms. So,
It
but
was a
yeah,
great
that's
lineup.
every time it sort of I know it's on, which it occasionally does, because at least the Film 4 channel pretty much has it on. I don't want to say loop, but it usually comes constantly in every so many weeks. I can easily just have it on in the background and basically just give it viewership, even if I'm out of the house. It's just like, no, give it a viewer rather than whatever Lifetime movie crap they're showing on the other channels.
Owen, anything for you?
I loved it. I remember loving it. Again, I've always loved Wes Anderson. I don't think Isle of Dogs I was more excited for. It was more of probably one of the more disappointing ones, sadly, but I've always been able to really enjoy Wes Anderson's work, and Baumbach was not Baumbach to me back then. So, but the combination, and I don't remember exactly what the content was, but I always remember one of my biggest laughs in the theater was when George Clooney would explain everything and break everything down one by one in a very Wes Anderson way.
Also, was it Owen Wilson that explains Whack-Bat?
Oh my God, yes, that's exactly Whack-Bat's great.
And I love how you can. It's not till you're watching this you realize that everybody that works with Wes Anderson frequently has a very distinguishable voice. So it's actually a good instance of you being able to immediately recognize the voice cast when you hear them, because it still feels like a Wes Anderson movie in that regard too.
Absolutely helps too.
Okay, this next one is a great movie. I've only watched a couple of times because it's emotionally brutal, but unlike something like Precious, in my opinion, this is an extremely effective and powerful movie because of how emotionally brutal it is. We're talking about The Messenger.
Oh yeah.
Whoever came up with the concept of making a movie around this job, I feel like that's one of those things where if this movie didn't exist, you would not necessarily like crave a movie like that, but you would know that you could make a powerful movie with this subject matter and this particular position. And it's like, what do those guys go through having to do this? And just the end of it, this may be one of those movies that doesn't entirely add up as a whole piece, but individual scenes will stick with you forever. Somebody who's not even listed on the cast list here is Buscemi. And I will remember Buscemi's scene in this movie until the day I die, I think. And an extremely, extremely earned nomination for Woody Harrelson. It's funny we're talking about this so soon after 2012. And of course Ben Foster being the lead, but people were like, it's funny when Ben Foster finally, you can't even necessarily say he blew up, but he got to a point to where everybody knows to expect greatness from him when they see him now. But those of us that like, you know, knew him first from like Get Over It, and then we saw 3:10 to Yuma, and it's like, holy shit, that's what he's capable of. And then he started getting parts like this, and then it slowly became a thing. By the time we got to Hell or High Water, it's like people knew to expect greatness out of him, even though he never necessarily blew up. But this is definitely like at the front of the Ben Foster surge that got us to that point. And yeah, Samantha Morton's got a great part in this also. Jenna Malone, who I love, is in this. But yeah, those individual scenes where they have to, if you're unaware, they're the guys that, the military guys that go to the houses of the parents and the family of people that have been killed and have to inform them. And those are like the key scenes of the movie. There's one very harrowing moment that touches on my, you know, my movie fear, which I don't appreciate, but again, the hard-hittingness of that scene. When they go to a family's house and the family isn't home, and then they run into them at the store, and Ben Foster just does it right there. This is a very fucking powerful movie. Do you guys have thoughts?
Oh, I guess I may seem like a broken record, and I guess that's just how it is because it's been a minute. But I remember very much enjoying. not as in enjoying it as in that, but enjoying the presentation, exactly how it's portrayed. I think this is back when we were really into Ben Foster too, as an actor.
Yeah, because after 310 to Yuma, I got kind of obsessed with him actually.
Yeah.
I think the first time he played, like, because when you think of, like, his crazy roles, which is what he became known for, I think that started with Hostage. Remember the Bruce Willis movie?
Vaguely.
And then there was Alpha Dog, and then there was 310 to Yuma. So he built up to Charlie Prince as far as craziness.
I'm gonna
And
be
then
watching. I'll actually be watching him on Friday.
What's he in now?
He's got a movie called Motor City, which is coming out. Which came out a couple weeks.
Yeah, the Alan Richardson movie.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds interesting. That's a movie with no dialogue, right?
Absolutely.
That'll be interesting.
It's my kickoff for Friday.
We kind of detoured there, but
I vaguely remember him in the others, but I guess the first time I remember him in significance, probably just because I was on the Taylor Sheridan train at that time, was 2016's Hell or High Water.
Yeah.
Because then he followed that up. I don't think it was the next year, but the year after with Leave No Trace, that got a lot of acclaim as well.
That's when everybody discovered Thomasin McKenzie too, or at least a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, considering also some of the aspect stuff of Leave No Trace, at least the way you've described part of the thing with the messenger, it feels like something that he could easily have done in Leave No Trace if it was a different kind of film.
My God, Ben Foster's playing Evel Knievel.
Yeah, but
that one.
Well, I guess that the thing that confirmed at the weekend was we're getting the unofficial sequel to Place Beyond the Pines, right? With Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider.
Is that it for the messenger?
Yep.
All right. Women in Trouble. This one, I'm trying to remember what was something weird was going on with this movie. Because I believe there is a character in it. Is it Carla Gugino's character. His name is Electra Lux.
Yes.
At the time, I think there was a separate movie in the works just called Electra Lux.
There is that released in 2011.
So it exists.
It does exist.
Okay, I don't think I ever saw it.
No, I don't think you.
Yeah, I'm just doing a wiki. Yeah, so I feel that's somewhat damning. So yeah, it was a sequel that came out in 2010, and then it just says it was shown on UK television in February 2011. So it didn't even get a cinema release over here. So then again, I don't think Women in Trouble did either.
And you see, this is another one where it's like, I remember that. And see, this right here in this starting paragraph is just interesting in itself. It was shot in 10 days for $50,000. That's it. And it's got quite a cast.
Yeah.
But, and I've got a DVD of it around here. But I've never revisited it, and I don't remember anything. I remember its title, that it existed, and that Electra Lux was a thing. But I don't remember the movies in any specifics at all. Anything else?
Nope.
I mean, judging from the poster, it's either trying to be burlesque or 9, which we'll obviously get to, I think, next month. I think it was the December release.
I don't even think this movie has anything to do with music.
No, but in the sense that it's like a lot of famous women. Really. Then again, I still think it's hilarious that this and Electra Lux apparently came from the same person that gave us that wrote Gothica and Snakes on a Plane. How?
it's about like porn stars. You would think something so racy or raunchy, we'd totally remember this movie.
But
But
no,
I
we're still
don't.
talking about Boogie Nights. There we.
Yeah, it's one of those lives intertwining over the course of a day movies. But like Brolin's in here, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's. I do vaguely remember Joseph Gordon-Levitt being here, but that's it. I do not remember Elizabeth Berkley being in this.
The irony is, at least going by the list on Wiki, we jumped past Uncertainty, but that also has got so as it stands, Joseph was in 2 films that same week.
And the next star after Carla Gugino is Adrienne Palicki. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Adrienne Palicki is one of those people whose name I have seen so many times, and I've seen so many things she's in. If you showed me a picture of her face right now, I could not put her name with it. So, is that Women in Trouble?
Yep.
Okay. Here was an interesting experience. Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. I know Abel Ferrara was pissed about this movie existing. Despite the fact that it's not going to be like... okay. So the thing about this movie is everybody was saying like, oh my god, why do you remake Bad Lieutenant? Like, how do you, like, why would you do that? Like, oh, it's a remake, and Abel Ferrara even, like, fell into that. But it's like, it's Werner Herzog and Cage. This isn't just gonna be somebody remaking Bad Lieutenant, as is.
I completely
So,
forgot that Herzog directed this.
oh yeah.
Just it's honestly just because it's like, given the concept of what Bad Lieutenant could go with Nicolas Cage on its own, yet alone like at this point I'm glad that Klaus Kinski wasn't in this, because otherwise this would have been sort of Apocalypse Now, sort of like as if I'm Marlon Brando, high on every single drug, A to the Z, Iron Sheik style. Like, dear God.
And this is like, this is a great Cage performance. This is the stuff that like Cage wants to do that no directors typically let him. And there's like scenes every that scene in the original movie or whatever, but it's its own thing. And it's a Herzog movie. I know a Herzog movie is identifiable in a number of different ways, but there was an era of him here. I guess you could say his Shannon era. And it's like you can get, because Shannon's in this too. That, yeah, I feel like them coming together, this is, and I feel like it gets a bad reputation just because of what its name is, when it's definitely its own thing. And very much like a peak Cage, and that's saying something. So this is also has one of my favorite Cage lines. Shoot him again, his soul is still dancing. And then the guy's soul breakdance. I don't know. That's what I want out of a Cage and Herzog movie, but I don't know about anybody else. Owen, do you have any particular memories?
I remember liking it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't remember. I didn't. If I remember correctly, I didn't watch. I know for a fact I didn't. When I watched this quote unquote sequel, I didn't see the original Bad Lieutenant.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Because it runs as its own movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the movie that's coming out this year with Takashi Miike, that is the sequel to this. But nobody is back at all.
I'm learning about this in real time.
Oh, yeah. Well, it gained at least some notoriety in the wrestling world because apparently Liv Morgan's supposed to have some sort of role in it. I
Yeah,
think.
I look at the cast list, and the only person I recognize outside of Liv Morgan is Lil James.
Yeah. Yeah. Bad Lieutenant Tokyo. Of course, it's a neon film. um. Yeah, it's got a pretty much. What I'm intrigued though is how it's supposed to be a standalone sequel to it when yeah, pretty much. I'm still trying to work out if that's a film that's being made for Japan or not because it's like the amount of
It,
that cast list that's gonna be, and the fact that Mickey's directing as well. Because I want to say it's the first thing of significance I think he's directed cinema wise, maybe in a decade. I'm trying to look.
I mean, it's debuting TIFF, so we'll all know more in a few months anyway.
Hell no, 13 Assassins was 2010. So we're talking, 15-ish years. Blimey.
Are we ready for the next movie? Because the next movie has a lot of talking.
Oh, shit.
Um, I don't know how many different fucking reputations one movie can have. This one's got a lot. This one's got a rap sheet. We have arrived at The Blind Side. So, should we start? Should we start in present day and go back, or start in 2009 and come forward? Because it's a journey. Let's start with now, because honestly, now I give a much less of a shit. So obviously, this movie is fiction. And the way Michael Orr is portrayed is actually quite offensive.
Yeah.
And not in a way you might have said that in 2009, but maybe not in the same way you'd say it now. When you say that a movie is a true story, but it's gonna take liberties, you expect there might be hints of some. I mean, I don't treat anything as gospel. If I see based on a true story, I pretty much am expecting a fictional movie anyway. But I feel like this is a totally different level of taking. I would say you have to put liberties even in quote when you say what this movie apparently did in a lot of ways. And this is a movie that already had controversies kind of brewing at the time. But they have since not only have those come to light, but the fact that this movie is like, are we going as far as to just say 100% fiction or what?
I think, well, no. Because, like, the people exist. So maybe about 15% it's real. But the story that seems to be told in it, certainly in terms of what we found in terms of the conservatorship thing, I want to say might be the only black mark on Michael Lewis's writing career. Bearing in mind that obviously he wrote the books that obviously got adapted into Moneyball and The Big Short, among probably others that I can't even remember off the top of my head. Yeah, it's sort of it's interesting in the respect that also in a rare case where, and I feel this is where sort of, this is the direction maybe that they were thinking when they started pitching in the sort of Oscar for most popular film that they sort of tried to bring in a few years back. The fact that this only had like a budget of sort of 30-ish million and made 300. Okay, we know the story's fake, but it's that sort of like turning a profit that the industry should be more trying to sort of jump on the bandwagon for than having, hundreds of million things and then, you hear, oh, quote unquote, it didn't reach target and whatever. Certainly like you do now. Because obviously, even if we look back to Sinners last year, that had a pretty heavy, high budget, but obviously made the bank as well. But yeah, it's sort of, it's, at least at the time, I might be one of the very few people that was just okay about it. Possibly because at that time I wasn't as big and as knowledgeable as I have become since about sort of college, college football, and then obviously NFL. And it did feel like at sometimes, like, it's that bit that you obviously see, like, some of this film might be dramatized. It's like, yeah, I don't think it's just going as far as, Precious dramatized, misery porn as you describe it, but like some of the times it just sort of, it feels like that in the sort of, it's sort of,
Well,
overcoming adversity, as fake as it what turns out it might be.
the thing also is that the middle of this story, because we started like in the present, the middle of this story is like the Oscar success, the picture nomination, Bullock's win, and just overall the love that was surrounding this and the way that it blew up. And it's like we'll get into this in a couple of videos, but when we were talking about District 9 and how when the movie first came out, a Best Picture nomination was not on anybody's radar, no matter what they say. Going back to the day this came out, okay? Owen and I had seen the trailer many times. We were roasting the trailer quite a bit. It became several running jokes.
Yep.
And we saw the movie, and the movie was basically the trailer at feature length. So we were pointing out all the moments we laughed at in the trailer, and we're laughing at the movie, we're roasting the movie. It's a Lifetime movie. And then we probably went to Planet 51 next, or maybe before, I don't remember. But I only remember that because it's the next one on the list. But yeah, it was like, oh, this Lifetime movie. All right, moving on. Again, like District 9, this was not on anybody's Best Picture nomination radar, and anybody who says it was the day it came out is fucking lying. This was like a thing. This like blew up. It was one of those movies that was like out. It was one of those movies that was out forever, which is how it, made so much fucking money. Was movies were actually allowed to stay out for a while if they were extremely successful.
Well, yeah, I can't remember what it's. Hang on, let's see. It might say in terms of the box office stuff, like.
Well, I remember.
Yeah,
I
it
remember
basically made its money back in its first week, despite going up against the Twilight sequel, which we'll be talking about in a few minutes. So.
I saw the shift because like I was saying before, I was seeing movies more than once because of that person. And I saw The Blind Side with Owen when it first came out before it blew up. Because we probably saw one of the first showings.
That checks out.
The morning it came out. So, like we were saying, there was no environment. It was just, oh, this Lifetime football movie, we're moving on. By the time I saw it the second time was after it blew up. And it did feel like a different experience. And surrounded by people that were caught up in the hype of the fact that it had blown up, and it was like the thing happening right now for this particular demographic.
I don't think now looking at it from from the details, I don't remember seeing it in 09 because one, it didn't come out here until March 2010, and considering it was also released opposite the Nanny McPhee sequel and Alice in Wonderland over here the same weekend, I think I saw those two rather than Blindside at the cinema for that week. But in that respect, I remember it because obviously with the attention that it got with the Oscar nomination, obviously by then, would it have been the same week as the Oscars? I'm trying to remember what date the Oscars were that year. I was gonna say early to mid-March, so it would have been in around the same time. So I'm guessing that was obviously systematically probably sorted by was it Unit? No, Warner Brothers distributing it. That's probably intended. Also, I think that this might be one of the few bits as well that reflects the Thanksgiving bump, shall we say? Because I just noticed as well, it actually earned 40 million, so it earned more money in its second week than its first week, because that would have been Thanksgiving weekend.
It is very smart to put a movie like this out at that time.
Yeah. Because if it gets the word of mouth and gets the good reputation, and if people haven't got anything better to do Thanksgiving weekend, that's where it can get the boost that it clearly did. And apparently the following week as well, because I guess people had chilled on Twilight, it actually got #1 in its third week with like 20 million.
And as long as you're of a certain demographic, this covers territory because it's like a Lifetime movie, but it's also a football movie. So you've got both of those crowds. Plus, Sandra Bullock just having her own fan base in general at that time. So, throughout the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
So it was like a whole recipe for success. I just don't think anybody knew, at least it wasn't on my radar how big it was going to be, let alone the Oscar success. The Oscar success was not in any way, I don't even remember if Bullock was in the conversation at all when it first came out. And this is this is November, like we're in the season.
Mm-hmm.
But it's awards, even though I think it was only those two nominations, was the picture nomination and Bullock, right? But even so, the momentum happened so fucking fast as far as awards go. It felt like. Oh, and do you have any particular memories apart from the in jokes?
I hate this movie. I remember hating this movie, and I don't. I sure was. I hated the movie in general. I hated the love for the movie in general. I hated the unjustified awards love it got. I really hated Bullock winning. That made me really mad. Well, we'll talk about that in a couple weeks. Yeah, I never liked this movie at all.
In all honesty, I feel I'm only covering this now because of everything we'll have to cover with the award season and probably other stuff that will be more significant to us, how we're sort of indifferent about the film. This feels like a Jessica Chastain Eyes of Tammy Faye level in terms of, yeah, it can make it in for sort of actress and maybe win, but how it got picture just seems very odd. Especially when
I
you take into, it feels like it's a give recognition for the performance, but nothing else
I know,
really feels strong enough.
I know you're not comparing them, but I still want to jump in really fast and just say how much more deserving Chastain was
No,
than
but
Bullock.
but I'm talking in the respect of
Yeah.
it feels like something that should be recognized for the acting performance of the lead, as Chastain's was, but I
Yeah.
don't think the picture is strong enough at all to warrant really any other recognition. It's a trend that I always try and keep an eye out for now. It's which is the film that's going to get nothing else bar the acting nomination because they're trying to do what they can with, be it a dodgy script or maybe the closest would, well, in that respect, I guess the most obvious. Did she? Yeah, she did get nominated for Blonde, didn't she? I mean, Ana de Armas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that respect. That might be the closest sort of respect in terms of Sandra Bullock's performance. Like for everything that. Then again, considering the experience that you would have with Andrew Dominic, that maybe isn't fair because when you look at the other works that John Lee Hancock's done, I do find it interesting that he never wrote or directed something until Little Things, which was what 12 years later. He wrote Snow White and the Huntsman, directed Saving Mr. Banks and the Founder and the Highwayman, but sort of it's only Mr. Harrigan's Phone that was out a few years back, and then apparently the Monsanto legal drama that's apparently coming out on Netflix soonish. Well, I recognize the name, Monsanto, so I had to double check there because it said Lakeith Stanfield playing Dwayne Johnson, and I read that completely wrong. What can I say except you're welcome? So hopefully that's better than the Blind Side.
Do we go ahead and gloss over Planet 51?
Oh, speaking of Dwayne, oh shit.
Oh yeah. This is one of those animated movies that's not Disney, not DreamWorks. I don't even. Illumination wasn't much of a thing yet because Despicable Me hadn't come out yet. But
It
it was just like
says
a.
a lot that Sony distributed it for you guys, but for us it was entertainment, which means you can technically say yes, it was distributed by the same people that brought the UK, The Departed, and Gosford Park, and Brokeback Mountain, and $1 Million Baby, and The Artist, and the Lord of the
Okay.
Rings trilogy. At least I think I just remember that anytime you'd have the DVDs over here, you'd have that weird bloody entertainment video like graphic and whatever. I think they still exist. Oh yeah, they're doing, at least over here, the Sylvester Stallone biopic that's coming out in a few months. The I Play Rocky one.
That trailer looks fantastic. I cannot wait for that movie.
And they're part of the they're also distributing the Cliffhanger reboot that's coming out next month.
The thing about Planet 51 is that it's one of those where, based on the humor, you can tell there's instances where they may not have the restraints that Disney or DreamWorks has, but they never fully utilize it, and it always just ends up becoming this really generic thing, like Escape from Planet Earth. stuff like that, or like Space Chimps. I don't think Space Chimps was a major animation studio, right? It was just one of the random ones. It's one of those. It's a very
Wow.
generic. It's Mars Needs Moms. You know, it's that kind of thing.
I mean, in hindsight, I don't want to speak ill will of George Harrison, but I've just found out that this was a Handmade Films production. So technically, just like with bloody Entertainment in terms of distributing it, you can technically say this is from the production company that brought you what, Life of Brian and no, I don't think, no, they didn't do Meaning of Life, but certainly Long Good Friday, Time Bandits, How to Get Ahead in Advertising. At least, thankfully, the last thing was 127 hours, so at least they went out on a high. But to me, Planet 51 screams practically every time I try and go to my cinema listings for the week at certain times of the year, where it's like you see all these kid films that you recognize, your Minions, your Moanas, your Spider-Man. Well, I mean, that isn't really kids, but whatever. And then there'll be sort of not Kung Fu Panda, but not Kung Fu Rabbit either, but said animated film with a cast you don't recognize, because basically it's a European film that's been picked up and basically redubbed by possibly big names, as in Planet 51, or more often than not big names. And it's just getting distributed and out in the cinema as if to go, your kids are bored because they don't want to see said films again? Watch this. And after a week, it's just gone. It'd be the thing that sort of they then again try and push on DVD, like Planet 51, and then sort of you'd go to your CEX. I don't want to call CEX a thrift store, but I guess, you can, buy and sell stuff into them, so it's sort of akin to that. You get money for giving the stuff. This is the stuff that is going to be the 50p, £1. Please buy it. Sort of
Mine.
deal that's on pre-owned.
Oh, and I don't know if you had the same experience, but my most vivid memory of Planet 51, the story we've told about how we saw Night at the Museum 2,
Right.
um, which was obviously a very memorable night. And if you can go back for that story if that sounds weird. That Night at the Museum 2 would be a memorable night. But Planet 51 was the first trailer. And they played the trailer for Planet 51 has the fucking Beethoven score in it. That's honestly the very first thing I remember. Maybe the only thing I remember when Planet 51 comes up. I know that we saw it because we surely saw it before or after The Blind Side. But there's no memory. I remember the trailer, but I don't remember actually seeing the movie, even though I know we did. And it's not like Dare, because Dare we would have watched online. We saw Planet 51 at the theater.
Yep.
Before or after. So, and we definitely saw that. The fact that we saw The Blind Side and the fact that they came out the same day is the only proof I hold mentally that we have seen Planet 51. Is that it?
Yep.
All I can say is it says a lot that I think the video game reviewed better than the movie. And the video game is distinctly average. Even though I only played it relatively recently, because I think it was during the point of like I forgot that was a PlayStation 3. Like, I don't think it was exclusive. It did come out to other consoles, but it's like it's one of those where I'm like, wait, that had a game. especially considering how, it's again, it's not a major sort of. I get it for sort of your Sony animation stuff, which I guess at the time would have been Ice Age, but not something like Planet 51. But there we go.
That brings us to New Moon.
Twiglet Part 2.
Do you remember when I told you guys the story about Final Destination and Halloween 2, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I should tell this. Oh, I don't know if I want to go back to that memory. But I went ahead and did. New Moon is another memory with that person. But I'm actually not gonna tell this. So that I'm just not gonna go into that one. But I do remember thinking it was the worst of the Twilight movies, which obviously is an interesting place to be. And I remember it's the one that ends on the cliffhanger. And that's all I got. The Twilight movies are very vague memories to me for the most part. So this one probably the most vague to me. So and I don't know if I blocked it out because of the bad memory or what, but yeah, I've just have not much for this one. So anything, Owen?
Nope.
Um,
Just what I did with the buttons they gave us.
What was that?
Just what I did with the promotional buttons that they gave us.
What was that?
Remember the one where I covered Bobby P with a piece of tape, and I marked over his face so it would just be Bella and Jacob together.
I forgot you had a side.
Dude, I was back then. I definitely would have been Jacob without a doubt. And of course, when Bobby P got the girl, it was just basically like mirroring everything that ever happened in my life. So I was not happy. So
I guess you saw what he said on the Odyssey red carpet,
I did not.
where he was talking about how hateable his character is in the Odyssey, and he said nobody's gonna like him. He's like Jacob in Twilight. I love when every now and then he'll like surprise you and touch back on Twilight for just a second, just like one time every 5 years. I'm like playing with my Odyssey ticket right now as I say that. I wasn't even thinking about that.
That's why I was getting. When was the first Hunger Games film?
March of 2012.
Okay, so after. Because it's like. I was trying to work out sort of whether it was beforehand and whatever, because the fact that. At least for you guys, it was Summit. I think for us, it was Lionsgate, because I think I remember seeing the first one and just I wasn't that bothered in seeing the rest of them. But like the fact that the book series was relatively written quickly, because I feel the first book was 04 and the last one of the four was like 09 or no 08. So it would have been the same year that the first film came out. The fact that Lionsgate were committed that much to making it an annual franchise as if it was like, a Paranormal Activity or a Saw. And then obviously, so arguably Twilight is where it started, because what? Hunger Games was after, Divergent was after. What's the other young adult? There was one other young adult one that I'm trying to remember.
Maze Runner.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think that they would have distributed. Annoyingly, the only stuff that I see that's sequels is Now You See Me and John Wick, and it's like, I mean, I have fun with Now You See Me, but John Wick shouldn't be put in the same thing as young adult novels, but it seems amazing that sort of Lionsgate sort of did. I was going to say catch something in a bottle because I never sort of got it as a franchise. Then again, I don't think I'm into that sort of fiction, so maybe it sort of won't connect with me in that respect. Uh, yeah, so I think that's all. That's all I got to say about that. But it's just I just found it interesting, in terms of at least considering how Lionsgate is always looking for it. The fact that they had, I mean, I guess technically, okay, Breaking Dawn would have finished 2012, but that and Divergent would have. No, because Divergent, I think, was 2014, 15-ish. So they wouldn't have overlapped, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe we're talking about that one next.
We have 5 left, but it's basically 4. We'll see if we can do it by 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Me and Orson Welles.
Yeah.
Which was nice. This was Owen, was this our next trip to Athens after A Serious Man brought us there?
Absolutely would be.
Wow, was it? It really was only the second movie we saw there?
Yeah.
I feel like we were very comfortable by the time Me and Orson Welles happened. I'll praise anything that Linklater does, pretty much. And I love that he was the one that did this. You can get a sense of this in, like, Blue Moon.
Yes, very much so.
And the Christian McKay performance obviously is fantastic. And it's got just Linklater's fucking chill vibe. Like, I haven't seen this movie many times. I've maybe seen it twice. But I like it very much. I should revisit it more, and I would like to. Maybe I will. I need to fucking chill out right now. Maybe I will. It's already not off to a great week, and it's not going to get better. It's going to be a very stressful week. I may have to do like a Linklater marathon. Just to chill out. That would be really nice. So maybe not. I actually just rewatched the Before trilogy like late last year, so I'm good on that. But yeah, I love Linklater's chill vibes. Even when he does movies like this, it still comes through. And yeah, it's one of our earliest memories of that theater, so that's great. What do you got, Owen?
Efron.
Mm-hmm.
I want to praise Zac Efron. I really do. Like, you want to talk about what Bobby P did, and now just a minute ago, and what he is now, promoting the Odyssey and Batman Part 2 and everything he's done moving forward, like stuff like Cosmopolis that most people didn't see. But you need to if you haven't seen it yet. That's a wild performance. AJ knows. Yeah, really, really good. Robert, and I cannot wait for prime time. Oh my god, so excited! Prime time, you have no idea. Zac Efron, I will put over my I'll put over my Disney girls day in day out. Obviously, there's not very many times I put over a Disney guy. Zac Efron was the Disney guy, and I loved High School Musical. And then he showed real quick what type of an actor he was going to end up being. Roles like this, he's fantastic in The Greatest Showman. Obviously, The Iron Claw, which was award worthy without question.
He should have won things for the Iron Claw.
He definitely should. That's the reason why.
I know it wasn't the same vein, but he certainly wasn't High School Musical-esque him in, what was it, Paperboy?
Oh my god, yes.
Speaking of what we talked about earlier,
Yeah, because the year after this, he would kind of try to break out with something like Charlie St. Cloud, but I don't think that had the result he was going for.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna defend the fact that he was Chris R in The Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
I'll always defend that movie, and I do not care. But yeah, Efron's fantastic, and Efron's fantastic in this too. He proved why he needed to be a leading man in dramatic roles in Me and Orson Welles.
I'm trying to work out whether you might have seen it, although I don't think it's as well received as Me and Orson Welles was, but certainly I feel with the vibe that it's trying to be, well, at least in a similar fashion of sort of a young nobody sort of rubbing shoulders with like somebody that's punching above their weight sort of thing. I think that's probably also why I can't remember it was a free screening or whatever that I saw it with, or I did actually pay. What was it? Set Fire to the Stars, the one with Elijah Wood playing the guy that sort of as rubbing shoulders with Kellen Jones's Dylan Thomas. I sort of get similar. Oh, Kelly Riley was also in both of them. What the hell? There's even more of a connection. I feel it's a similar thing in terms of you can kind of see it's sort of it's a deconstruction of sort of like what Orson Welles would have been going through at the time. Admittedly, in the 30s, obviously with Set Fire to the Stars being the 50s, but I want to say that's a sort of similar-ish vibe. I don't know. If you haven't seen it, I don't know. Did you see it when it did it ever come to you guys, AJ?
I have not seen that,
Okay.
but I would like to now that because I don't know that I had heard of it until just now, but it's on now. It's on my radar.
Yeah. Elijah Wood, Kellen Jones, Shirley Henderson, Kelly Riley, Stephen McIntosh, Hayden Gillen. Yeah, it's just a few little bits, and Gruff Reese and his sort of chilled soundtrack as well, which didn't come out until 2 years later. Great job, guys. Yeah, I don't think it's as strong as Me and Orson Welles, but it's certainly, I want to say it's a similar-esque sort of fashion, and that sort of very much. This is My Week with Marilyn was 2011, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's sort of that thing. It's like the nobody. I've said shoulders too many times in this.
Also, another movie watched in Athens
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that we
it's
really
sort of
enjoyed.
it sort of feels like in that respect. I remember. I think this might have been Me and Orson Welles. I might have seen for free, and of course, it's annoying that apparently it only had distribution through the Tesco supermarket because I think I still have the sticker because obviously I opened it and wanted to watch it again, but I still have the sticker that says Tesco exclusive that I took out and put on the little plastic clip with the little bit of paper with the sort of like chapter directions and whatever, just so it's like, yeah, I've still got that packaging bit. It's annoying that would have been only available in one shop. Because to be fair, I never realized it was a Linklater film. I think at that point I didn't know Linklater as well as certainly you guys would have. I think I would have. I think I saw Scanner Darkly. That might have been the first one that I saw at least in cinemas, and I pretty much I would have bought everything on DVD. But now that I know that Me and Orson Welles is one of his, when we look back at it, what Linklater thing were we talking about? I'm trying to remember. It might have been when I was looking up Blue Moon, possibly. Or maybe when it got announced earlier, I don't know, it was this week or a few weeks back, that Nouvelle Vague's getting a Criterion. That I think it honestly was last week, because when you were bringing up the Blockbuster exclusive, thing on the one, and I was like, I remember me and Orson Welles, and then that's when I find out it's a Linklater. So no wonder I like the film.
The next movie is Ninja Assassin.
Oh,
Nope.
well.
It's a James McTeague movie. He started with he was like an assistant director on Dark City, and then he was the Wachowskis' assistant director on The Matrix, and it's like, how much bigger of a start can you get? And then his directorial debut was V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
This guy's good. However, his next two movies were Ninja Assassin and Brave. And Ninja Assassin is one of those movies I just always wished I liked more than I did. I do admire how all in it goes on gore for the kind of movie it is. Because when you think of ninja movies, think of, sharp weapons and stuff like that, but mostly when you imagine ninjas, you tend to think pretty goreless. So the fact that this one goes way over the top in a very deliberate fashion. The very first kill of the movie is a very graphic decapitation. Mind you, a lot of it's like the CGI gore.
Yeah.
That doesn't always look great. But I have just always admired that when they said they're gonna go all in on gore, they actually did. Because there's a lot of movies that get approached in this way, and then they still feel kind of watered down. This is, as far as that goes, this is an insane movie, but it doesn't really have anything else going. Even the action isn't that memorable because this movie is another victim of everything looks so fucking dark. Like everything's at night and there's no lights anywhere for a lot of the action. So that's an issue, but honestly, maybe it's a 2009 thing. And I know people will think, even if people don't like Ninja Assassin, they'll still think this is like, whoa, don't go that far. Back in for the February video, we talked about Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. These movies have always felt like they're in the same universe to me. It's like maybe it's a 2009 thing. I don't know, but I don't remember getting much out of this at all, except being very surprised by how actually gory it was. But everything else is very, very lacking, which ultimately makes it unmemorable despite the gruesome nature of it. Owen, do you got anything for ninjas?
Shoot, no memory of this movie.
That's kind of what I thought. I feel like I remember you being pretty zoned out when we were there.
Back then, I wouldn't have messed with a movie like this at all.
Yeah, come to think of it, you were probably asleep, actually.
I guarantee I was. I was either asleep or I had the yo-yo. Because there's no way we watched this theatrically. No way.
I genuinely don't remember.
There's no way we ever would have gotten this movie in our theater.
I'm pretty sure we had it.
I don't.
You have me second guessing.
I am the movie that I yo-yoed through or talked through or slept through, but I don't recall seeing this movie theatrically at all.
part of me part of it, because again, I don't think I saw it theatrically. Neither the one that I'm sort of trying to compare it to, but I get the same vein as 13 Ronin. Although ironically, with 13 Ronin, it's the semi-Last Samurai-esque in that you put the Western guy in the lead and have the supporting cast be predominantly Japanese.
Are you referring to 47 Ronin?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know there is a 13 Ronin, which is a different film, but yeah. I lost track of the number because, again, that's how memorable that was. Just that, it's Keanu Reeves as not John Wick / Neo.
It was only, 1 year away
But
from
yes,
John Wick.
I admittedly with Ninja Assassin they did have the sort of, it was an Asian lead, and then there was a few supporting cast that were Westerners, and then it was the rest of it was sort of Asian cast again. But yeah, I double checked. This was a 18/R rated. Well, no, NC-17 over here, whereas 47 Ronin I think was either 12A or 15. So yeah, we're going raid level of blood and gore. So
That works sometimes.
I think I have seen it because I am intrigued to McTeague. Was that supposed to rhyme? I don't know. I don't think I saw Survivor. I think I saw Raven, but I think that's a script that sort of was like should have been better. And then I completely forgot that he directed Breaking In.
Oh.
And then other than that, I don't think he's done much bar producing Wachowski stuff, I think. Certainly he's done little to no stuff in terms of writing and directing since, at least that I'm aware of.
The next movie is a tragedy. The next movie is Old Dogs.
Oh God.
This is the it's the Travolta Robin Williams comedy where they're like, I don't even remember what the fuck they're doing. They're like raising kids and shit. It's one of those. It's just
This
really,
enough to make me hate.
What was that?
This theatrical experience was enough to make me hate it.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I want to talk about actually. So I imagine by the title and by Travolta's presence here and by the style of the humor, this was supposed to probably be trying to follow in the footsteps of Wild Hogs' success.
Absolutely.
I honestly thought it was a sequel.
Well, here's the thing. When I saw, and Owen, you were working, so you would know. When I saw Wild Hogs, we ended up having to go to a later showing because Wild Hogs was insanely fucking successful.
Yes.
The theaters were full, the lobby was full, they had to push show times. It was a whole fucking thing when Wild Hogs came.
We couldn't even sit in the back row of the biggest auditorium because it was that packed.
And maybe this is controversial. I think Wild Hogs is funny as hell. Something about that movie's sense of humor just really clicked with me in a way I felt like it shouldn't have, but it did. Let's compare that to the day we saw Old Dogs. We are in the biggest auditorium.
Yep.
It's a movie with John Travolta and Robin Williams in 2009. And it's essentially being almost advertised as some sort of follow-up to Wild Hogs in a sense. Enough to at least trick people into thinking they're getting Wild Hogs again, to a degree. We are in there, in the biggest auditorium Opening night at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
That fucker's empty.
Yep.
And when a bad comedy is playing in a theater that empty, the silence it's playing to is deafening.
Yes. We watched the Pink Panther.
And you can tell, this is one of those movies where you can tell by the editing how much of a comedy they thought they were making. The implied comedy going on in the editing alone. Like, one scene that comes to mind immediately, because this is when it kicked in for me, that we were witnessing a disaster. There is a scene where Robin Williams gets a spray tan, and it gets out of control. You know what Ross did? And Robin Williams is getting blasted with spray tan, and wacky music is playing, and it's like cutting back and forth to like one of the wives just talking calmly to somebody, and then it cuts back to Robin Williams, and he's screaming and he's flailing around, and the wacky music is playing, and it's cutting back and forth, and it's like, I think I can hear vaguely the audience laughter that the editor thought about. But it wasn't there. It certainly wasn't coming from us, let alone the fact that the rest of the room was basically empty.
Okay,
And that,
it's a different aspect, but I sort of get. 'Cause I don't think I've seen this, but it gives me vibes to the waxing scene in 40-Year-Old Virgin, except Disney decided to turn the volume up to 11 Stupid.
that seems accurate, yes.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that the movie carries that vibe. I also, unfortunately, do you know? Do you ever come across those movies that are so cringy, you're embarrassed to admit that you remember them?
No, I usually forget about
There is a scene in this movie where Rita Wilson gets her hands closed up in a car's trunk, and she like pratfalls and mugs, and it's basically the spray tan scene again. It's played up like the audience is gonna be losing their fucking mind, and everybody is embarrassing themselves in silence. um there's like was it another Botox joke where Travolta's face gets fucked up and he's got like this insane smile?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so we're going back to Christmas with the Cranks for our jokes, and we know how much everybody loves. I mean, Christmas with the Cranks has like kind of found its way now, but it had a horrible reputation when it came out, and that's what I'm thinking of right now. We're going back to that joke well for what we've got going on here, and the fact is that there are names out the asshole of this movie. The most appealing thing about this movie was like, how do they fit all of these names in? Holy shit. And nobody, despite all the names you're looking at, if you're looking at the cast list right now, you would think one of them is going to be some sort of saving grace. It's going to be some sort of like lighthouse in the storm. Like, somebody's going to get a chance to shine in this, surely. And I don't remember that ever happening. I don't think anybody comes out unscathed. Every scene is a fucking disaster. And it's like, what's that song that's the end credit song to every goddamn movie? This is one of those also. It was the end credit song to Look Who's Talking. It was the end credit song to Mr. Deeds. There's this one. I know there's another one, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there were at least 4 by the time this came out. And also, Robin Williams has like a jetpack at like it's fucking Jingle All the Way. This, like, every single aspect of this movie was the worst thing it could possibly be.
I know you said that this is the key thing to me as well, because the way you talked about you could see the editor thinking that there's going to be laughing. Is there a blooming blooper reel in the credits?
I feel like if there isn't, there is something playing during the end credits.
Yeah.
If not it might be a blooper reel, but I think something is playing during the credits.
Because I want to, as you say, the embarrassed to admit, of which I think me and somebody else were the. It might have just been the showing that we went to at the day, but the closest I have to that is Holmes and Watson.
Oh my god.
And I think that had a blooper reel at the end. I think. So part of the time where I see the blooper reel thing, it's like that's where it's like, so you're really trying to force people to laugh.
Yeah.
Then again, I guess that happened because Anchorman 1 and to a lesser extent 2 were actually funny. So whether that was just the trend. But the rate we're going, that Will Ferrell series that went on Netflix like last week probably has a blooper reel at the end of like the season. Just stick him in there, sort of thing.
Sometimes
I'm pleased it got recognition, at least in terms of nominations at the Raspberry Awards for Old Dogs. I think, given the circumstance of, because the film is dedicated to Bernie Mac as well as Jet Travolta. And I want to say this would have been. It wasn't the last, but possibly in a major movie, one of Williams' last performances. Because I want to say the couple of others that we got from him were sort of, your
yeah, he was
Man of the Year style, sort of like not as well,
yeah, because
thing.
It was 5 years later that he died, and in the last few years of his career, he was doing the most random shit that like nobody was seeing, and that wasn't
forgot
really
he was Eisenhower in The Bloody Butler. Highly Daniels.
Yeah.
It's all looping back on each other.
Yeah, but he did like that. He did that weird fucking movie where he's like Annette Bening's neighbor, and he did like Boulevard. He did that horrible Christmas movie with Joel McHale. The Angriest Man in Brooklyn. He was doing like just shit. It was really sad to watch. And I don't know if Old Dogs was the cause of it. I'm gonna choose to blame Old Dogs.
I mean, well,
just personally,
License to Wed from 2007 wasn't great.
No, it wasn't at all.
And RV I didn't really enjoy.
Well,
bar that, sort of where it worked for him was sort of the animated stuff in sort of Happy Feet and his Roosevelt appearance, from Night at the Museum.
And just for his sake, thank God, he also had World's Greatest Dad this year.
Yeah.
So he had like one of the best performances of his career to balance Old Dogs. So at least there was that. Owen, do you have any more memories of?
No.
All right, we've basically got one movie left, but we'll touch on the last one. But honestly, I don't know if I want to touch much on either one of these because the next one's The Road, I was just talking about The Road with my dad because he just read the book and saw the movie. And the first thing I told him was, "Oh, that was a bleak experience for you, wasn't it?" I don't know that you can talk about The Road like fleetingly. Like, it's there's so much in there and it's so bleak. It's like it almost feels like it does a disservice to just say, "Yeah, remember when we saw The Road? That's something that we did in 2009." um, but yeah, I haven't revisited it. I probably should. I was telling when we were having that conversation, I was telling him that I would like to read it and then revisit it. I struggle a little bit with McCarthy with the no punctuation stuff. It's but no, the bleak stuff is fine. It's the no punctuation that intimidates me.
I honestly feel, though, the only reason this got made is because how well No Country for Old Men did.
Yeah, and Hilco. Did Hilco do another?
Not of his stuff, I
He
think.
I think they very briefly talked about Hillcoat possibly doing Blood Meridian, and then naturally that went away. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Because
Hillcoat had done
the only stuff Hillcoat, he certainly came up on my radar with Proposition, and then he did Lawless and 999, and then I think the last thing we saw him do was that. Hi, Michael Shannon, the George and Tammy mini series from a few years back.
Oh wow, I didn't know that was him.
I think. Hang on, that's on Showtime with Jessica Chastain as Tammy Wynette and Michael Shannon as George Jones, which came up because I want to say one or the both got nominated at either the Chastain I think got nominated at the Globes.
I think she won.
Shannon got nominated. Both of them got nominated at the Emmys, I think.
I'm thinking Chastain won one of them.
She won at SAG.
Yeah, that's right.
But from the Globes and the Emmys, they only got nominated. So
we already told the Duvall story once. Owen, do you want to do that?
Yeah. So, Robert Duvall. Again, it goes back to, I always would equate this with like Alfred Molina. Because at the end of the day, no matter how vast someone's career may be, and how much they are known for something way more than just one performance, I always find a little thing that I equate to them beyond anything else. And it's not ever what everybody else does. Obviously, no matter what he does in his life, Alfred Molina will always be the Spaniard in Maverick. And Robert Duvall will always be the man who literally was asked how old he is, and his legitimate response, without anything, was 90.
And it caught us so off guard because
I went, wow, what happened? I didn't care.
we did like a double attack. It's like, did he really just? Because he's fucking hiking when we see him.
Yeah, he is.
Or whatever he do. I mean, he's like a nomadic character. Obviously, in this world, anybody is.
Yes.
And I remember that we carried that for so long that it was a very beautiful day for us when Robert Duvall in real life actually reached 90.
Yes.
We were always saying like, man, I hope he makes it, and he did. He went right past 90 quite a bit. So, we always thought that was worth celebrating. The whole fucking legacy he has. It's like, yes, the road prophecy came true. Hopefully, that's the only one.
I mean, well, we got
in
another
that
movie.
respect, his character is significant in it, in that he's the only one that gets a name. Everyone else is just like man, woman, kid, thief, rich man, poor man, beggar man.
Speaking of roles that are known for different reasons, we got a movie coming up next that I just wanted to make sure that we haven't missed it. We haven't. That's coming up on next week's show that also has a connection to something, no matter what happens in life. We'll talk about that next week.
So I don't really have much of a memory of the last movie, but it's got a place. It's got a little bit of a talking point. It's The Private Lives of Pippa Lee,
Oh, okay.
which is this movie starring Robin Wright that she gives a great performance in. Apart from her, one of the only things I actually remember about it is one of the introductory scenes of Keanu Reeves' character is him having a random outburst and like leaving out of a window and walking through the yard. We talked about that for a very long time for some reason when it happened. It was at a point where we were like saying like, what the fuck is this movie? But if you want to talk about this movie having a place in as far as like having a talking point, I don't know if it was ever confirmed, but I think we're all pretty sure this was the movie that there was a bit of an awkward scene at the Oscar where Sean Penn had previously won for Milk, so he came out to do actress. That was back when we did things this way, and they didn't keep fucking switching it up. So Penn came out to do actress, and before he listed the 5 nominees, he cryptically implied that he was pissed off that Robin Wright was not nominated for. Are we under the impression that's what he was saying?
Probably.
Even though he didn't say any of those words, he didn't even mention her. I'm pretty sure the implication was always that he was actively like campaigning for her to get in for this, and she missed. And he brought that up while he was on stage before he presented the nominees. So I feel like that's the most memorable this movie is gonna get.
Which
I'm
in
sure it's
hindsight
fine.
is fucking hilarious, given that this would have been nearly a year after they filed for separation and divorce.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work out whether that was his sort of like last minute plea to try and get her back, even though she filed for divorce in August of 2009. Okay, it got finalized in July of 2010, but it's like now part of me is
I'm now now the way I'm looking at this is making a scene at the Oscars is Sean Penn's boombox moment for Say Anything. That's my takeaway.
yeah.
Oh, and apart from the awkward Keanu Reeves outburst, do you remember anything about this movie?
I remember of its existence, and this is when this was before this. It would have been a couple years later when Ruby Sparks would come out, but this is also when I was starting to develop my little thing for Zoe Kazan.
Oh yeah.
Which again, it's been a busy month for her.
Yeah, totally.
Because she was it. Oh, hang on.
It did Revolutionary Road the year before.
No, but oh, what's the bloody? Yeah, she was in Me and Orson Welles.
Yep, that's correct. But yeah,
that's November for you.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Some of this. Oh, hang on.
Carry on.
Oh no, OBS disconnected, so I've got to let it connect back up. OBS is reconnecting.
Please now.
OBS is reconnected. So hopefully that will. Don't know why that happened. So yeah, Bryce says, I like Precious. Yeah, one thing I will say from Bry that I certainly agree with here. Mariah Carey was unrecognizable to me when I watch it. She really did sort of like did her best to not look like herself, which, considering most of the rest of her career, is amazing. And then says Monique is terrifying. Yeah, but then considering the way that character is, she kind of has to be. Bryce saying, I'll be honest, Wes Anderson's animated films are some of his weaker things. One thing to know with the expectation of 2, a majority of the cast members record the lines in the outdoors, almost like doing the movie as if it was live action. Oh, yeah. I forgot that basically Clooney and all that were basically recorded as if they were sort of in the same place. So I get the right. I'm trying to remember whether we did the same with Isle of Dogs. I want to say no. A unique story with 2 soldiers and the messenger. I would have made more sense to get into Best Picture instead of The Blind Side and A Serious Man. Although despite the recent controversy, I do like Blind Side's picture nomination. I mean, it is interesting to see inspired stuff, but yeah, sort of in hindsight, it does feel like it sort of doesn't feel like it should have made it.
I mean,
we'll obviously we'll dabble on that more when we actually get to the Oscars sort of retrospective for the 2009 season, I should say. But
I have to go back to something.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to formally say happy birthday to Josie and thank her for like all the support she's done for this channel.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I was just sitting here like, I just kind of said, "Oh, nice," and I was like, she's been so supportive of this channel. That's a pretty underwhelming happy birthday. It's like we should really sincerely say that.
Why do you think I stopped the entire show so I could?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have said it back. I should have said it back then. Yeah.
I mean, the closest I can do in terms of marking it, because I haven't got one of the party blowers, is if I grab that from back there and hope that doesn't fall, which is about to. Of course it is. It's my setup. I haven't got the sort of party popper, but I have got that. I've got a train, so
Chinlockhorn.com.
Train dreams coming soon. Josie saying, I actually put away the Book of Precious at the library the other day. Push by Sapphire is the book title. Oh, so it's not. So the title isn't Push. Push by Sapphire is actually the thing. It's just the title based on the novel Push by Sapphire. Yeah, Josie mentioning the guy who wrote the Book of Blindside, Michael Lewis, also wrote the books that got adapted into Big Short and Moneyball. At first, I was trying to do the conspiracy theory of, was it his writing of the Blindside stuff that got him the gig at Vanity Fair? Because he seems to have been there since in and around that time. But I believe the Moneyball book was written like 03 or 04-ish. And then obviously Big Short had to have been written after, because the short hadn't fully been realised yet until I think the book was 2011, with the film coming out the following year. That's even more depressing. Thanks, Bry. Sandra Bullock got a Kids' Choice Award nomination for Favourite Movie Actress for The Blind Side.
I know. I remember.
Rightfully losing to Miley Cyrus for Hannah Montana the movie, because
hell yeah.
How is but in that respect, how is The Blind Side a kids' film?
Football.
No, but like, At
Just,
that rate,
No,
in 2015, why didn't they have favorite performance? From Kids' Choice, Dakota Fanning in 50 Shades of Grey. That's how much it makes sense. That
Johnson?
it's not their
Johnson.
fucking demographic.
He pulled a me, AJ.
We're good. We need to get out of here. We're good.
Take it home.
Also, Josie says, Owen, I love your delivery of "I hate this movie."
It's a shoot. I've never asked AJ. He'll tell you 100%. I've never liked the movie ever.
No, I think she means just in general. Every time we've
Yeah.
got to a thing and you've established your disdain. It's the
Yeah.
way you enunciate. I hate this movie. There's just
Headache, stress, frustration, lack of eating, depression. Yeah, it'll do that to a person, Josie.
yeah. MTV Movie Awards New Moon beat out Alice in Wonderland, Avatar,
I
Harry
remember
Potter,
that
and The
as
Hangover.
well.
And again, the teen girls or young adult ladies or any man that liked Twilight, they rigged that ceremony for 4 years, minus Breaking Dawn Part 2. Yeah.
Boring Dawn, yes, I recall
Back
very
to Christmas
much.
Carol, Carey did get Kids' Choice Award for voice in an animated film. Except it wasn't his voice. He was doing the stuff. And Bryce says, since you mentioned Nouvelle Vague from Linklater, that movie was boring. I mean, to be fair, the actual subject matter of Nouvelle Vague, some people consider boring as well, so I don't, because I'm a fan of French New Wave and like doing weird shit, so.
You might like Refn's new movie then. Anyway.
That's if it comes out here.
Good luck on that.
There was no. You're talking about Her Private Hell, right?
Yep.
I definitely don't foresee a universe where that movie ever clicked with you. Did you ever end up seeing Only God Forgives?
I think so.
Or was that just me?
No, I saw that as well.
Of
course I did. It was the follow-up to Drive. And then I realised, oh, it's not Drive.
I think a fight.
I also didn't see Neon Demon either, so.
I mean, it sounds to me like I didn't see Her Private Hell yet, but it sounds to me like it's exactly the movie you'd expect Refn to make after 10 years. For better or worse.
It is the best way to describe it without giving it away. It's sci-fi film noir. And it makes no goddamn sense.
I mean, I didn't like Only God Forgives, but I liked and disliked the Neon Demon probably equally.
I think you might have a better time with Her Private Hell than I did.
And of course, we've had the Bronson conversation in the last couple of videos. So.
Of course.
So anything, that's the fun thing about Refn is fucking anything is possible. So he's got that going for him.
I'm pretty sure it's not. It doesn't say so, but I'm pretty sure Kavinsky is the last song you hear on the credits.
Oh, so we're definitely copying Drive. I mean, admittedly, Kavinsky was at least the credits song for the
Hot
start.
Pink, filmed by NWR. Now you have fun with that. Take it home.
So yeah, we'll be back next week to cover.
Tentatively speaking, it might be 6 o'clock on Monday.
Okay.
I have rehearsal. So Tuesday is out unless we're going to be wanting to do a show out of sorts at 4 o'clock.
Thankfully, I sort of have that week off, so I can fit it around everything. So that's all right. But yeah, December, and I'll double check if there's anything that would have released in 2009 in the UK that you guys might not have got till 2010. which wouldn't have been that much. Maybe,
That later.
yeah. Give us the outro, Owen.
Oh, gladly. So, Ashley can be found on X at Ashley's My Name UK. More Ashley content forthcoming. AJ's content will return in the future. So, there's so much content that he's put up throughout the years. You can check that out if you haven't yet done so. You can go back and check out some of the segments we've done on the channel, things like that. There's a lot of content, so you may not get regular videos other than the podcast, but you still have plenty of content to go back to. I can be found on X at Sir Owen Disney. And yeah, tomorrow's Water Parks Day. So I'm putting up all 10 water parks videos I have tomorrow. So there'll be plenty of water parks content on this channel because I'm going to Park Ave tomorrow for a meet and greet. So yeah, I get to go see Austin Jeff Notto tomorrow, which is great because we are celebrating the fact that Jinx came out on Friday, and you can actually buy it right now if you have iTunes for about $7 and help water parks get the top spot on the iTunes list. It's number 2 right now, so let's get past Charlie XCX. No, I don't hold a grudge, not at all. Anyway, stream Jinx, stream water parks, watch movies. Always remember to have the best day ever. 'Tis the season after all. And in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Until tomorrow, boys and girls. That's all we got to say about that.